Hi there. Welcome to Next Level Yoga. I'm Tara Kestner. Today's class is going to be a focus on two things everybody always asks me for, but nobody really wants, and that is core and balance. So the entire class is everything I've got in the toolbox for strengthening the core and working the balance in a more dynamic fashion. So for today's class, you're going to need a block, a foam block like this. If you have one, fabulous. If you don't have one, you can use a bigger book. Might I suggest something like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows or Stephen King's It, something pretty sizable. And if you're going to use a book, you may want to put a rubber band around it so it doesn't fling open on you when you're trying to use it. So if you need to go get that, hit pause and meet me back here in a comfortable seated position. So when you've got yourself sorted, we're going to take a nice, easy, slow breath in. And as you exhale, softly close your eyes. And just start to become very still. And start to tune into the breath. And on your next exhale, try to relax your shoulders a little bit. And on the following exhale, relax your jaw. And think about softening your face, and softening your ribs, and softening your belly. And then just begin to notice your breath, wherever that is. Maybe you feel it the most in your nose, or in your chest, or in your ribs. And wherever it is, take your focus there. And just begin to watch the breath. Kind of a gentle curiosity, not trying to change anything. And then in your mind's eye, begin to imagine a big body of water. It can be a lake, it can be an ocean, whatever you prefer. And that big body of water has some very gentle waves that are coming up on the shore. And just start to fill in the details. Do you have a rocky shore or a sandy beach? Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? And then begin to notice the pattern of the waves as they roll up onto your shore. There's that little pause before they go back out and gather a little steam and then roll themselves back in. Just begin to notice the pattern of that wave energy. And then see if you can sync your breath up with the pattern of that wave. In whatever way makes sense to you. And we'll take one more breath here. When you finish that next breath, softly begin to open up your eyes. And take your hands out to your knees or your shins, whatever you can get a hold of, and start to wiggle your tailbone underneath you. And lower your chin down to your chest and hang on to those legs as you lean back, finding that stretch across the upper back, seated cat stretch. And then with a very slow inhale, begin to sit up tall. Begin to lift the center of the chest and glance up to the ceiling. And on the exhale, round it out back to that cat stretch. Inhale and sit up tall. Exhale, round it out. One more time. Inhale, sitting up tall, lifting through the chest. Exhale, round it out into that cat stretch and hold. And then begin to sit up and drop the hands down behind you. Turn the palms out, and with an inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Pause at the top to turn your palms out, and as you exhale, press the air down. Do that again. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. This time, let's inhale it up and hold. And look up there, and as you exhale, begin to bend your elbows, bringing them down to shoulder height. On the inhale, look to your left and start to rotate your shoulders in that direction. And then exhale, let it go, around to the right. Inhale, back to the left. And exhale, around to the right. One more time, inhale, take it to the left. Pause there to drop your left hand behind you and your right hand onto your knee. Now sit up tall, push the floor away with the back fingers and look off the back shoulder, seated twist. Trying to get some height there, so maybe bring that back hand a little closer and kind of prop the spine up with that back arm. We'll take one more breath here. And on the exhale, let it go. Reach the hands back behind you. On an inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Turn the palms out, and as you exhale, press it down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale it down. This time, inhale up and hold. With the exhale, begin to bend the elbows. Elbows come to shoulder height. Look to the right. And start to inhale as you rotate to the right. As you exhale, release, take it around to the left, rotating the spine on its axis. Inhale, taking it to the right again. Pause, release on the exhale, back around to the left. One more time, inhale to the right and pause. And as you exhale, drop that right hand to the ground, left hand to your knee. Sit up as tall as you can. And then begin to look behind you, just bringing the neck in line with the rest of the spine. Breathe here in this seated twist. And on your next exhale, let it go. Roll the shoulders around a little bit and come to hands and knees, or all fours, whatever you prefer to refer to it as. And give the tail a little wag, release any compression that might have built up in the low spine when you were sitting. Spread the fingers wide, knees are under the hips, hands are under the shoulders. Begin to drop your belly down and become still. Start to lift the chin up, looking for some sensation right at the top of the rectus abdominis, where the belly and the ribs meet in the center of the torso. Take a breath in. As you exhale, begin to tuck the tail. Begin to bring the chin to the chest and push the floor away. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. One more of these. Inhaling cow. Exhaling, round it up into cat and hold it there. As you hold this cat stretch, begin to move your hips just a tiny bit closer to your feet. Feel some of the weight come out of the wrists and feel the stretch move up into your shoulders a little more. We'll stay here for one more breath. And when you finish this breath, come back to all fours. We're going to slide the left foot straight back. Keep the toe on the ground. Slide the right hand straight forward. Keep the fingers on the ground. Move that left hand back in under you a little bit. And then when you're ready, begin to lift the foot away and maybe lift the hand away, or both, trying to bring the everything to shoulder and hip height, then hold here, reaching out long through the fingers and the toes, spinal balance. Push the floor away with the left hand. Take a breath in. As you exhale, cat-cow crunches, begin to bring the elbow towards the knee underneath your body. And then on the inhale, reach it out long. Exhale, bring elbow and knee together under the body. And inhale, reach it out long. One more of these, bring it in. And inhale, reach it out long and pause. Float the hand and knee back to the ground and slide the right foot back and the left hand forward. Readjust that right hand so you've got it where it needs to be to balance you, and then lift the foot, the hand, or both up off the mat. Hopefully bringing hand to shoulder height, foot to hip height, or both. Pause here. Reach through the fingers and the toes. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, cat-cow crunches, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach it out long. There are only 3. Exhale, slowly bring it in. One more time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. And then we'll bring the hand and the knee to the ground. Take the knees wide. Begin to sink the hips back towards the heels into this child's pose. Start to lower the head down onto the mat and then begin to slide the hands towards the top of the mat. The elbows will lift up and then lift the palms up off the mat. So all that's left are the fingertips. These very long arms. Takes a little of the tension out of the wrist, and then you can gently push into the fingertips and create just a subtle little shift. The tailbone maybe an inch closer to the heels. Let's take one more breath here. As you finish this breath, begin to look up and come back up first to all fours. And then tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the mat and find your way to plank, the top of a push-up. We're going to come into a side plank here. So we're going to drop the heels to the left. Now you can stagger the feet, heel to toe, or you can stack them arch to arch, or you can lower that left knee down to the mat into a modification. Either way, you're going to look to the right. You're going to start to float that right hand up off the ground, reaching for the ceiling and pausing here. Take a breath in. As you exhale, slowly bring that hand down. Find your way back to the center in that plank pose. When you're ready, drop your heels to the right, stack or stagger the feet, or drop a knee. Then look to the left and start to float that hand up. Imagine I have come up behind you and I'm lifting you up by the left side of your pants. So keep lifting that left hip towards the ceiling and pushing the floor away rather than dumping all the weight into your elbow and wrist. Go ahead and bring that back to the center. We're going to take a few plank rolls here. Do not let me hurry you. Go at your own pace. Take a breath in. As you exhale, drop your heels to the left. Look to the right. As you inhale, sweep that right arm up, side plank. Bring it back down, back to the center. In plank, take a breath in. As you exhale, drop heels to the right, look to the left. On the inhale, float that hand up to the ceiling. And on the exhale, bring it back down. Find your way back to plank. Take a breath in. As you exhale, heels to the left, look to the right. Inhale, sweep that arm up. Exhale, bring it down. Back to the center one more time. Big breath in. Exhale, drop heels to the right, look to the left. Inhale, sweep that left arm high. Exhale, bring it down. Come back to plank and lower to your knees. Now, look to your right and extend your right arm out long. We're going to sweep the arm under our belly, reach through, and lower down onto the right shoulder. Make a fist with your left hand and place it under the side of your head and wiggle yourself in there. Now threading the needle, you can stay here with the shoulder suspended between the body and the floor. Or for a little more sensation, remove that fist from under your head. Rest your head directly on the mat. And take your focus to that back shoulder. And just breathe into it. And one more breath. As you finish this breath, lift your head, make your way back to all fours. So we can do that on the other side. Extend the left arm out long. Sweep it under your body and reach through. Lower down onto that shoulder and make a fist with the right hand this time. And wiggle your way in there. You can stay right here. This might be nice and comfy. Or for a little more intensity, remove the hand from under the head. Place the head directly on the mat. And close your eyes. And just take a few breaths right into that spot in the mid-back. And one more breath here. As you finish this breath, make your way back to all fours. Now go ahead and locate your block and put it up at the top of your mat because that's where you're going to need it in a few. We're going to move into a series called leg swings and lunges. And it's going to work all of the muscles of the core and work on the hip flexors and hamstrings a bit. So we're going to extend the left leg out long and then bend the knee. So you're kicking the foot to the ceiling and lift your face. Take a breath in. As you exhale, swing your knee right into the center of your chest and drop your nose down there. Inhale, kick it back up, look up. Exhale, crunch it back in. One more of these. Inhale, swing it up. Exhale, crunch it in. Pause. And then step your foot between your hands. There is no graceful way to do it. I'm going to shift forward and back a bit so you can line up your joints in a good place. Hopefully knee is right over ankle. And then start to crawl up that front leg. You can stay right here, or you can come up both forearms on the knee, or you can bring the hands up onto the thigh and kind of push everything away. So you're pushing the thigh away, drawing the shoulders back and down. Let's take 3 breaths here. With each exhale, sink in a little bit. Our focus is on this hip flexor right here. So as you exhale, it's like you're wearing a very heavy tool belt that's pulling you down in. One more time. Breath in. As you exhale, sink in. And then come back down to the mat. Back to our home base, which is hands and knees. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. Extend the right leg out long. Bend at the knee and kick the foot to the ceiling and lift your face. Take a breath in. As you exhale, swing that knee into the center of your chest. Drop your nose. Inhale, swing it back up and look up. Exhale, crunch it in. One more of these. Inhale, kick. Exhale, crunch. And then step your foot up between your hands. Shift around a bit. Aligning knee over ankle. And then crawling up that leg to any height that works for you. Again, paying attention to the left hip flexor. So once you've settled in to whatever version of this lunge you like, take 3 breaths. As you exhale, sink in a little bit. 2 more. One more breath here. And with the exhale, make your way back down to the ground. In this next segment, you can use all fours as your home base, Or you can join me in downward facing dog by tucking the toes under, lifting the hips up, and dropping your head. Pedal out the heels a bit if you're in down dog. And then we'll start on the left leg. Reach the left leg out long. If you're in down dog, you can kick the foot up, and then we're all going to turn the knee out to the side. So you're opening up your hip towards the long edge of the mat. You can drop your foot if you're in down dog. Take a breath in. As you exhale, slowly bring that knee down and across your body. Look to your right elbow. Rotate the torso, look to the right. And then with the inhale, sweep that hip open again like a gate. As you exhale, bring the knee down and across. It helps to look to the right. And then one more time, inhale, open it up. Exhale, close it down. Pause. We're going to step the left foot to the outside of the left fingers and lower the back knee down if it's lifted. Shift forward and back. And then find your block. Should be right in front of you. You're going to hold on to it like this. We're going to find our way into a runner's lunge that works. Now you can stay right here where you're taking some of the compression out of that hip joint. Or if you'd like a little more intensity, you can bring the forearms down onto the block. Or if you're very flexible, you may want to turn the block up on its end, rest your forehead on the block, and come down onto your forearms. I'm going to take the middle version. And as you settle in, again, we'll take 3 breaths. Big slow exhale. Easy smooth inhale. Let it go. One more time. As you finish this breath, make your way back to your home base, whether that be all fours or downward facing dog. And extend the right leg out long. Turn the kneecap out to the side. If you're in down dog, you can drop the foot back and down. Take a breath in. As you exhale, slowly bring that knee down and across towards your left elbow. Look to the left. Get that little turn in the transverse abdominis. And then inhale, sweep it back open. Exhale, slowly bring the knee down and across. And on the inhale, swing it back open. One more time. Blow it out as you bring that knee down and across. Pause. And then step the foot to the outside of your right fingers. Little baby piggy toes are hanging off the edge there. Shift it around a bit. Find your block. And go to the position that feels good to you. And once you've settled in, take those 3 slow breaths. And one more time. Easy inhale. Easy exhale. One more set. So this time, we're going to come on up. You can use all fours as your home base, or if you want a little more of a challenge, make your home base plank, the top of a push-up. So we've worked the rectus abdominis, the transverse abdominis. We're going to focus on the oblique along your left side. So extend your left leg out long. Keep your kneecap pointed at the floor. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, begin to bring that left knee to the left elbow. Look to the left, crunching down that left side. Inhale, reach it out long. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, reach it out long. Last one of these, crunch it in and pause just to prove that you can, and then step your foot again to the outside of your fingers and lower your back knee down. Find your block and set it on its lowest setting under your right hand. We're going to turn the toes out off the mat onto the floor and take the left hand up onto that knee, and then just gently move that knee around. Gently pushing it away. Now you can just stay right here, or you can reach that left hand for the ceiling. Or if you want to get really low, look behind you and reach back there like you're receiving a baton in a relay race. 3 breaths. 2 more breaths. 1 more. And on the exhale, bring it back down. And find your way back to your home base, plank or all fours. We'll work that right oblique, and then I promise we'll move on. So coming from plank, you're going to extend the right leg out long. Kneecap stays pointed at the ground. Take a breath in. On the exhale, right knee to right elbow, look right. And on the inhale, slowly extend it out long. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, reach it out. Last one. Blow it out strong as you bring that knee to your elbow and pause. And then step the foot to the outside of the right hand. Lower the back knee and shift around a bit. Take your block on its lowest setting, right under your left hand to get a little height, a little up off the mat. Turn those toes out and bring your right hand onto your knee. And just gently move everything around, trying to get a little turn in the hip there. You can just stay right here. You can reach that right hand for the ceiling, looking up, or you can look behind you and reach back there. Wherever you are, take 3 slow breaths. On this last breath, bring that hand on down. Bring the knee back to the mat. And set your block at the upper left-hand corner of the mat on its tallest setting, so on its short edge. It'll be there when you need it. Let's make our way up to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips on up. Drop your head and just pedal out your heels and shake out your head a little. And then begin to walk the feet up to the top of the mat. When you get there, settle in. Bring the feet a little closer together so that you can pinch your knees together if you want to. And with an inhale, slide the hands up the fronts of the shins till the legs can become straight and the back can be flat. Halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees and slide back down your shins. Drop your head. Let's do that 2 more times, starting to follow the breath. Inhaling up. Exhaling it down. 1 more of these. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And take your hands wide. And with an inhale, rise up to standing. When you get there, turn the palms out. Bend your knees a bit and dive back down to the floor on the exhale. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. 1 more of these. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. This time, inhale to the top and pause. And we're going to press the palms together and cross the thumbs. We're going to keep the arms very straight. Now start to sit your hips back into a chair pose. And keep the arms long. Now take a breath in. As you exhale, start to bring the hands down to the mat in front of you, like you're karate chopping through wood, and drop your head. Sweep your hands up behind you. Find your fingers again and interlace them. And then begin to flex your knees. Start to straighten the legs a bit and lift the knuckles to the ceiling. And then slowly rebend the knees. Let the hands come to rest on the low back. Now, pinch the knees together firmly. Lift your face a little. And then start to bring yourself up to standing. Nothing can help. The core muscles have to bring you up. When you get almost all the way up, lift your shoulders up into your ears and roll them back and down. And start to look up to the ceiling, reaching knuckles for the floor, standing camel pose. Release your hands. On the inhale, sweep them back up. Lock those thumbs, and as you exhale, sit back into that chair, bringing the arms all the way down, keeping them nice and straight. Sweep your hands up behind you, find your fingertips again. And with an inhale, begin to straighten out the legs. Just do whatever you can. And then as you exhale, rebend the knees, rest the hands on the low back. Lift your face. As you inhale, we're going to rise back up. Lifting shoulders up into the ears and then rolling them back and down as you look up. One more of these. Inhale, sweep the arms up, press the palms. Exhale, sit through that chair, karate chopping that wood, and sweep the hands up behind you. Inhale, straighten the legs, drop the head, knuckles to the ceiling. Exhale, bend the knees. Hands come back to the low back. As you inhale, look up, rise up, begin to bring the shoulders into the ears and then roll them back and down. As you look to the ceiling, release your hands. Inhale, sweep it up, press the palms. Exhale, sit through that chair. Bring the hands down to the ground and stay here. Steady yourself with your fingertips. Step your left foot as far back as you can into a lunge. Drop your head. Look at your back foot as you kind of shift forward and back, just kind of limbering yourself up. It's okay if your butt wants to pop up in the air a little. And then we'll start to take our gaze forward. Start to lift our face a bit. That'll lower that left hip down. And then plant your left hand. On an inhale, reach your right hand straight out in front of you and circle it up to the top. Pause your breath here, and as you exhale, finish your circle and gently lower your back knee down. With an inhale breath, take the arms wide and rise up to crescent moon. Reach up there, look up, and then press your palms together and hook your thumbs. Very similar to what we did before. Begin to hinge forward, up and out of the waistband of the pants, bringing the hands down to the ground. Sweeping them up behind you, finding your fingertips, and then reinterlace the fingers. Reach the knuckles for the ceiling as you drop your head. Let the hands come to rest on the low back. With an inhale, begin to rise up, lifting shoulders into the ears, and as you exhale, roll the shoulders back and down, starting to reach the knuckles for that back heel as the fronts of the shoulders become warm. Release your hands. Just float the arms up overhead and turn your palms towards the front of the mat and slowly bring the hands down to the ground. Tuck your back toe, lift your back knee. Step back into downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels, shake out the head. And then we'll lift up that back leg, the left leg this time. We'll swing the knee into the chest and step the foot onto the mat. Drop your head, look at your back foot as you start to shift forward and back. It helps to come up onto the fingertips here and get a little height. And then begin to lift your face. You'll notice that your hips will sink down a bit. Flatten out your right hand. And with an inhale, circle that left hand forward and up. On the exhale, finish your circle. Gently lower that back knee down. When you're ready, take your arms wide and rise up to crescent moon, reaching up, looking through your fingertips. And then press the palms together, crossing the thumbs. Slowly begin to hinge forward, bringing the hands down to the mat. And then sweep it up behind you. Interlace the fingers. Drop your head as you lift knuckles. It's a variation on a humble warrior. Bring the hands to rest on the low back. Begin to rise up, bringing shoulders up over the hips. Lift the shoulders into the ears. Roll them back and down as you reach for that back heel, opening up through the chest. Release your hands. On the inhale, gently sweep them up overhead. Turn your palms forward and float the hands down to the ground. We'll tuck that back toe under, lift up that knee. And this time a little Bouncing the back foot will help. We're going to step that back foot up to the top. Bring the feet a little closer together. And let's do all of that following our breath. One time through. Here we go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms wide, rise up to standing. Cross the thumbs, and as you exhale, sit through that chair, that karate chop with the arms all the way down, and swing the arms up behind you. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift the knuckles to the sky. Exhale, hands rest on the low back, knees bend, belly rests on the thigh. Lift your face. With an inhale breath, pinch the knees together and begin to rise up to standing. Lift the shoulders into the ears. Roll them back and down as you look to the ceiling and reach knuckles for the floor. Release your hands. Inhale, sweep them up overhead. Hook the thumbs, and as you exhale, sit into that chair and karate chop the hands to the ground. Pausing here, step your left foot back as far as you can into lunge. Shifting around, flatten out that left hand and lift your face. With an inhale, circle that right arm up. Pause at the top. Finish your circle, finish your breath. Lower your back knee. On the inhale, arms wide as you rise up to crescent moon. Press the palms, and as you exhale, hinge forward, bringing the hands down, sweeping them up behind you. Lift those knuckles to the ceiling, drop your head, and then rest the hands on the low back. Start to lift your face, rising up. Shoulders come up and over the hips as you roll the shoulders back and down. Release your hands. Inhale, float the arms up overhead. And then palms forward, bring the hands to the mat. Tuck your back toe under, lift your knee. Step into downward facing dog. Shake out your head, pedal out your heels, and lift that left foot up behind you. Doesn't have to be high. Swing the knee into the chest, step the foot on the mat. Drop your head as you shift around here, finding your way. And then we'll lift the face, plant that right hand. And with an inhale, circle sweep that left arm up. Pause at the top. Finish your circle, finish your breath. Lower your back knee down. On the inhale, arms wide, rise up. Press the palms. As you exhale, hinge forward, hands to the ground. Sweep it up behind you. Interlace your hands here and lift knuckles to the ceiling. Lower your hands back on to your low back. With a slow inhale, begin to rise up, rolling shoulders up into the ears and then back and down, and reach for that back heel with your knuckles. Release your hands. Inhale, float the arms up. Turn the palms forward and bring the hands down to the ground. Tuck the back toe under. Lift up the knee. Create a little bounce in that back foot, and we'll step it all the way up to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, pressing through the feet, pressing through the legs, coming up to mountain. Relax your shoulders down. We're going to slow the pace down a little, but add some balance. So go ahead and press the palms together, cross the thumbs. Begin to sit back into that chair. And we're just going to hold on to this for a second. Lots of long levers in this segment. So we'll take one more breath here. And then we'll slowly bring the hands down. Turn the palms to the back of the mat. Put the weight in the right foot and slide your left foot back. Kick the foot away and come into airplane. Keeping a bend in this front knee, tip the chest up a bit. Hold on to this. And then begin to find the ground with your back toe. Settling in to your lunge. Move this front foot over to the right just a little, and then bring the shoulders up and back. And imagine you're holding really heavy weights in your hands that are pulling you down into the hip joints. Or think of me pressing down gently on your shoulders. And once you've settled into your joints, slowly bring the arms up and overhead. As you reach up there, you'll notice that lever gets a lot longer on the left side. And we'll take just a couple of breaths here. And then slide that right hand down onto your right hip. Reach your left hand straight out from the chest and begin to look to the right. Now you can stay right here, keep reaching forward, or you can swing that right hand behind you, sink in a little lower, come into that twist. Let's work in the IT band, got a balance challenge, and then slowly take that hand back out so palms are facing each other. We're going to float the hands down to the ground. The left hand will land on your block, which is conveniently located at the upper left-hand corner of your mat. The right fingertips to the ground and gently drag that back foot forward a bit. Make sure you've got a gentle bend in the front knee and begin to kick that back leg up. Maybe just a little for today, or maybe eventually making it up there to hip height. And start to look to the right, taking your eyes along the floor, and then see about sliding your right hand out and away. Maybe reaching it up, maybe to shoulder height, or if everything's going well, bring it all the way up towards the ceiling. Revolved half moon. Slowly start to unpack this pose, so bringing it out one thing at a time. If your hand is lifted, bring it back to the ground. Take your gaze back to the floor, and we'll lower that back toe down, bending that front knee a lot. Now look at your back foot. Spin it flat to the mat. And then we're going to flip the right palm up. With an inhale, cartwheel your way all the way up. Reaching for the ceiling, looking behind you. Reverse warrior. You may have to take your stance a little longer. I can never quite land it from reverse half moon or revolved half moon. And then from here, cartwheel the arms forward. Forearm rests on that front thigh. Reaching up, 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 and maybe over if it feels good. From side angle, we're going to head to warrior two. So just rotate the arms back, leveling off the arms, and then straightening out that front leg. Bring the back hand, that's the left hand in this case, either onto the side or slide it behind you as you begin to tip the hips back and reach forward a bit. And then slowly float that hand down onto the straight leg. Now you can look down at your foot or you can look out to the side. You can leave your hand behind your back or on your hip, or you can reach it up, triangle pose. From triangle, let's bring the hand back down onto the side or slide it a little behind your back. And then we'll bring the shoulders back up over the hips. We're going to reach that right arm forward. We're going to re-bend the knee and bring the hand down. You're going to grab the block. The block is just an extension of your arm. It's just making your arm a little longer. Place it out there off the top of the mat and begin to drag the back foot forward. Now, we're going to start to kick that foot up off the mat. And maybe today you just play around with it. But maybe you can just float it up there, no problem, to hip height. If that all worked for you, then you can reach that left hand for the ceiling. If everything's going great, look out to the side. That's the part that takes a lot of people out. Lateral balance is really hard. We'll take 3 breaths here. And then we'll come out of this pose just like we came in. The hand will come down. The gaze will go back to the floor. We'll rebend that front knee and land that toe lightly on the mat. Flip that front palm up. And with an inhale, reverse warrior again. Sweep it up, 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 up. Starting to slide the hand behind you look behind you and sink in to that front knee. And from here, we're going to begin to cartwheel the arms forward. Right hand's going to come to the mat. Left hand's going to follow, framing that front foot. Step back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels a bit. Our one and only chaturanga vinyasa here. Going to do it in slow motion. So when you're ready, inhale, hinge forward to plank. As you exhale, begin to bend your elbows, lowering yourself part way down, and untuck your toes. On the inhale, start to lift your gaze, start to reach forward with your chest, and then push the floor away from you. Upward facing dog. Gaze is straight ahead, not up. Pushing the ground away. Retuck your toes. Find your way back to plank. Just lift your hips a bit, look down, and then back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels and walk it to the top of the mat. And when you get there, a halfway lift is waiting for you. Inhale up, reset your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Pausing here to take your block and make sure it's at the upper right hand corner of your mat now, so it'll be there when you need it. Bend your knees, take your arms wide, and with an inhale, rise up to standing. Pressing the palms together, crossing the thumbs, sit back into that chair. And we'll hold on to this for a couple of breaths. Begin to shift the weight into the left foot. Drop the hands down, palms to the back, and then slide that right foot back. Kick it away from the floor if you can. Begin to tip the chest up, airplane. And slowly lower that toe down. Find your way into that lunge. Adjust your feet a bit if you need to. And then we'll take the arms up overhead. And sinking in, keeping the gaze straight ahead. And bring that left hand down onto the left hip. Reach the right hand straight up from the chest and look to the left. Keep reaching forward. You can keep that hand on the hip or you can swing it back. And then we'll release out of this, bringing that left hand straight out from the chest. Float the hands down to the ground, right hand onto the block, left fingertips onto the ground. Begin to slide the back foot up a bit and then start kicking the foot up into the air. Maybe it'll just float right up there, or maybe you just stay with it a little off the floor today. Now begin to take your gaze to the left. Start to slide your hand out to the left and see if it wants to float up off the ground. Maybe just to shoulder height today, or maybe continuing on, pushing the block away, reaching for the ceiling, revolved half moon. And then we'll gently float that hand back to the ground. Slowly lower the toe down, look at your back foot, and spin it flat to the mat. So you're looking into the arch of your foot. Flip your palm up on your right hand, and we'll slowly rotate ourselves on up to reverse warrior. And pausing here, making any adjustments in the feet that you may need to. And then we'll bring it forward to side angle. Forearm's going to rest on that front thigh. Let the knee come forward a bit. And then reach up, up, up. And maybe over if it feels good. From side angle, warrior two. Just cartwheel the arms back to level. Settle in here. Bring that right hand onto the hip and straighten out the front leg. Now start to reach forward, letting your hips tip back a little bit. And then slowly float that left hand down to rest anywhere on the straight leg. Don't push down here. Instead, just let it rest. Take your gaze either down to your front foot or out to the side. Keep your hand on your hip or reach for the ceiling. Triangle pose. And let's all bring that hand down if it's lifted. And slowly rise up, shoulders over hips. We're going to bend that front knee and reach forward and let the left hand come down and find the block. And then start to drag that back foot forward. Now place the block out where it needs to go. Don't think there's a right answer here. You got to kind of trial and error it. And then just start playing around with kicking that back foot. Maybe it'll just kick right up there for you today, right at hip height. Pausing here, see how that feels. It's feeling pretty good. You can reach the right hand for the ceiling. Keeping your gaze down at the floor is a little easier. Or if you want to, turn your face and look out to the side. Half moon pose. Keep reaching through the toes and the fingers. Taking one more breath here. And then bringing the hand down onto the hip, taking the gaze back to the floor. Bend the front knee and lower that toe down. Spin the foot flat. Flip the palm up. Reverse warrior, a long trip on an inhale. Here we go. Inhale it up. Take your gaze behind you. Slide your hand around behind your back, reaching for that front hip. And then bring it back to warrior two. Float that left hand down to the ground, cartwheel the right around. Stepping back to downward facing dog. I promised only one chaturanga vinyasa. I am good to my word. We'll lower to our knees. And begin to sit back and bring yourself on to your backside with your feet flat on the ground in front of you. Your hands behind you so you can lean back into them. And just gently start dropping your knees from side to side, releasing some tension in the low back. It's not an easy segment. It challenges the body in a lot of weird ways. So if you're really tired, I understand. Now the next time that your knees drop to the right, go ahead and let them come all the way to the floor and begin to sit up. Now you're going to adjust your feet so that your knees, your knee and your heel are close to one another. You got kind of a pinwheel shape going here. You can adjust this back foot a little bit. Bringing it closer makes it just a tiny bit easier. Taking it out is going to make a big angle in the hip flexor. So start to look around behind you. And then begin to walk the hands around, taking yourself around, finding that gentle little twist in the low back. You've got an outer hip stretch going here. Got a little bit going on in the hip flexor. If you'd like to, you can start to walk your hands away from your body and lower down onto your forearms. It might feel good, might feel different. Just play around with it. And then we'll begin to lift up if you lowered down. Walk the hands back in if you walked them away. Lift your knees up. And come back to that first position with your hands behind you. Your feet flat on the mat. Start dropping the knees again. Now this time when the knees drop to your left, go ahead and allow them to drop all the way through. Start to sit up. Settle your feet into a positioning that feels good to you, and then look behind you. And start to walk your hands around there, using your fingertips to kind of guide you in to a position that feels nice across your low back. Maybe walk the hands away and lower down onto those forearms. Or stay up tall. Do what feels good. We have one more working segment that targets the core. But at least we get to lay down. So go ahead and lift up if you lowered. Walk the hands back if you walked them away. And back to the front. Find your way onto your back. We're going to come into a series I call dead crow pose. So it's essentially crow pose, but done on your back. And you'll find just how much core strength it takes to hold you in crow pose. So drop the knees a little bit, get comfortable. And then lift your feet up off the ground. And your insides of your feet are together, not the soles of your feet. The insides are right there by the big toes, and start to open your knees up. Now you're going to reach up through your knees for your feet and begin to lift your head, your neck, and your shoulders. And then bring your knees closer so that they're resting on the outsides of your elbows. If you need to take a little peek at me, go ahead. And pause here. You'll feel a little trembling. We're just going to hold on to that. And then as you exhale, slowly come back down to the ground. Take a little break. We're going to do that 2 more times with the option to go to side crow and flying crow. And you're also welcome to just keep working on that until you master that dead crow pose. So let's do that again. Lift the feet up. Separate the knees. Reach for your feet as you begin to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Don't draw your chin too close to your chest or you'll start to strain your neck. And let your knees rest against the outsides of the elbows. Now, option to move to side crow. You'll have to move your knees away from your body so that you can bring them together. Then move the knees as one unit to the right. And then bring them back up and in so the outside of that left leg is touching the outside of your right arm. Keep lifting through your shoulders. That's kind of the key. Now, if you'd like to move on to flying crow, first identify your left foot. It's the one touching your arm. Go ahead and kick it up in the air. And then extend your right leg out long. So you're scissoring the legs. You're hovering the foot just slightly off the ground. And you continue to lift through those shoulders. Take a big slow breath in here. And with the exhale, re-bend that knee, bring it back up and in. Lower the foot that's kicked up in the air and bring yourself back down to the ground. Do that 1 more time on the other side. I can't promise you it gets any easier. I can promise you it becomes less confusing though. So let's go ahead and lift the feet up. Separate the knees. Reach for the feet as you lift head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat. Staying here in crow or moving on to side crow by moving the legs out, bringing the knees to touch one another, and then moving them as one unit to the left. And then bring the knees up close to the body, lift the shoulders a little higher, side crow. If you want to move on, first identify your right foot. Kick it to the ceiling. And then reach that left leg for the bottom of the mat, hovering it about 6 inches off the floor. Keep lifting in the shoulders. Hold on here. Keep breathing. 1 more breath. And then slowly bring that knee in. Drop that foot down. And gently deposit yourself back on the mat. Nice job. That is not easy. Gently drop your knees from side to side. We have one last core isolation. I promise you this one isn't quite as challenging, but it does target some of the really deep muscles of the core. So reach the legs out long. Reach the arms up overhead. This should feel good. And then bring the hands down, either to shoulder height or wherever it's comfortable for your arms. They are of no use to you right now. They are dead and sitting off to the side. Start to bring your right knee up towards your chest. And then flex hard in the left foot, the straight leg. Now, instantly your arms wanted to reach up and grab the knee and help it out. That's because the core muscles are kind of like the toddler of the body. Everything tries to help it out so it doesn't have to work too hard. You can let the foot fall for a little less intensity, or you can keep the foot up at knee height for more. It's like you're in one-legged mountain if I could tip you up. We're just going to make the core hold us in place. Flexing that foot on the straight leg is what's going to anchor the hips. Now start to drop, move, not drop, but move your knee to the right. So we're opening up, similar to that second segment of the leg swigs and lunges. We're engaging the transverse abdominis that'll have to hold you here. And keep flexing hard in that left foot. That's going to keep you from rolling onto your side. And bring that knee back to the center. Now start to move the knee to the left. It's not going to go very far across your body. Just feel your hip lift up a little and then stop right there. So you're squeezing that muscle down, making it short. Still flexing in that left foot. And then bring it back to the center. See if you can lift the knee up a little closer to your face. Bring your left hand to the back of your neck. Now still looking up at the ceiling, begin to lift your head up. And then your shoulders, supporting the weight of your head with your hand. And then shift your eyes to the right. You can tell where I'm going, right? So as you look to the right, just slowly begin to turn your face. Elbow to knee is not the destination. Perfect alignment as you keep lifting the shoulders and keep looking to the right. Stay for 10 seconds here. Reflex that foot on the straight leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower it back down. Oh, reach that right leg out long. Kind of slap it out on the floor a bit. And drop that left hand back to the ground. Let's do that on the other side. Bring the left knee up towards the chest. Flex the right foot hard. Anchor through the hips. Decide if you want to let the foot drop a little for less intensity on the left side, or if you want to keep it up there in line with your knee. So it's more of a right angle. We'll just stay here, anchoring down, feeling the engagement. Think of it as just some warmth in your low belly there. And then we'll begin to move the knee to the left. So just slowly moving it, not dropping, I guess it's a bad way to describe it, but moving it out until you feel things engage and pause. And bring the knee back to the center. And we're going to move the knee to the right. So across the belly a little bit, just until you feel that left hip come up off the ground, and pause. And then back to the center. Right hand is going to come to the back of the neck. You're going to keep your gaze straight up. And you're just going to lift your face, your head, your neck, your shoulders up off the mat and pause. See if you can bring your knee in a little closer. And then just shift your eyes to the left. And start to turn your face to the left. And keep lifting the shoulders. Take it wherever you can. Stay for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring yourself back down. Straighten out that leg. Reach both arms up overhead. You made it. Reach through your fingers, reach through your toes, and then walk your feet back up onto the mat. Cross at the ankles and bring the knees into the chest. Hug them in. And gently rock it out a little side to side. Final relaxation. You're going to need it after all of that work. So you can drop your feet to the mat. It might feel better today, given how hard you worked that core, to just drop your knees against one another and tuck your tail under. That'll allow everything to completely release. But if you prefer legs out long, feet dropped out to the side, it's perfectly fine too. Take a second to readjust your shoulder blades. Drop your hands off to the side with the palms facing up. Take one slow breath in. And then blow it out as slow as you can, slowly releasing all of the air and feeling yourself settle in. And just close your eyes and be still. And begin to deepen your breath, taking in some air, filling up the belly, and then pursing your lips like you're blowing out a candle and blow it out softly. And begin to wiggle your toes a little. And walk your feet up onto the mat, if they're not already. And begin to drop your knees gently from side to side, massaging that area around the tailbone. Start to wiggle your fingers. And just really lazily slide your right hand up over your head or out from the shoulder. And the next time that your knees drop to the right, allow the momentum to carry you over onto your side. Use your arm as a pillow. And just rest here. Stack your knees, close your eyes, and just be still. And whenever you feel ready, begin to press yourself on up to a comfortable seated position. And we'll roll the shoulders around and bobble the head a few times. And then begin to look to your right. And then start to look all the way around behind you. And using your left hand, gently push your left knee away from you. And pushing you into that upper back stretch. And then release, bring it to the front. Look to your left. And then peer all the way around behind you. Use your right hand to gently push your right knee away. And then bring it back to the front. Drop the hands down behind you, turn the palms out. Take one big wake up inhale as you sweep the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, slowly bring the hands down, either in front of the chest or the belly. And thank you so much for joining me out here today. Namaste.